It's June 10th today, and we have both First Kings 7 and Acts 7, and both of them talk about, briefly at least, about the building of the temple. And one of them is Stephen's recounting of that all those years later, I'm sure, as he was looking at the temple himself, just at the base of that Temple Mount where he was about to be stoned to death. But he reflects on it briefly, and I think it's interesting also that First Kings 7 talks about the building of the palace for Solomon and the huge building that was more than 4 stories tall and 150 feet long. So a huge building. And just kind of the contrast there. And also, Stephen mentions that the Most High does not dwell in houses made by human hands. And thinking through human history, and even recently having been in Cleveland, saw a number of church buildings as we were driving through a part of town. It seemed like every mile or two there was a Catholic church building, a pretty nice Catholic church building, and just been reflecting on the idea that we are prone to build nice buildings for places of worship, I suppose. And I think there's definitely mixed motives in that. Sometimes it's for the glory of God, but oftentimes for the glory of man, or for competition even between different denominations or sects or whatever you want to call it, religions even. Who's going to build the bigger building, the more impressive building? And I think that God wouldn't be pleased with all of that. I mean, obviously, it's one thing to have reverence for Him, to point our attention to Him, to give our best to Him, to be willing to spend the money to honor Him, but it doesn't seem like it's a high priority for God at all. And so I think maybe we should reflect on that a bit. In our church tradition, of course, we build rather simple buildings, sometimes even maybe offensively simple to some people, that it doesn't even look like a special place necessarily, but it's not about the place or the building, and that's what Scripture is clear about in so many places. God dwells within us. His kingdom is not a kingdom of this world, it's a kingdom of eternal things. And so spending our money and investing in temporal things is not wise, I think, according to Scripture. Again, not to condemn those other traditions and their motives and everything with what they might be doing in order to glorify God in a sense. But I think we have to do it according to God's prescription, right? If He has told us how He longs to be worshipped and what is important to Him, then it's best to follow His instruction on that. So I think it is wise to not be lavish in the buildings that we build, allegedly for the glory of God. Anyway, interesting um, ideas from Acts 7 and First Kings 7 today.